Hi everyone, and welcome to the Sagittarius February 2022 Illumination reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot, a place for you to better experience and illuminate your own personal spiritual importance. So this reading specifically is meant to help you find the meaning in the challenge or challenges you are currently experiencing so that you can better understand and see your individual path and purpose, and how in facing this challenge and overcoming it, you can unlock something about your personal authentic self and how it can be not only of service to you, but to the greater collective experience. All right, so Sagittarius, you are last but not least in my recordings for the month of February. So I'm going to go right ahead and jump right in. I'm going to start by pulling a card to take a look at what you're sitting with in your internal energy for the month of February. And then we'll take a look at what's going on in your external environment and what might be a challenge you are currently experiencing that is here to help you unlock something about yourself. So we have the Four of Cups, which is a card that can signify a little bit of dissatisfaction or boredom, or a point of reevaluation as to what you're emotionally connecting to in your life. So all right. And in your external environment, some heavy hitters. We have Strength, Queen of Cups, and Death. Okay. And for the meaning, we have Eight of Cups. Interesting. So this is, I think, Libra got a similar message. In fact, actually a couple different signs this month had some type of energy around the Eight of Cups. And the Eight of Cups is the energy of understanding that it's time to walk away from something that you are no longer emotionally connected to. So this is kind of the overarching why, the meaning behind your current experience and the challenge that you're facing this month. So just right off the bat, from starting with your internal energy with the Four of Cups, and that there is this feeling that you're sitting with a little bit of reevaluation energy. And like, as I described earlier, a little bit of maybe perhaps dissatisfaction. This card shows an individual looking at three cups with his arms crossed, and he's kind of looking at them like, don't really care about what's in those cups. And there's this hand coming in, and I always like to say it's like a Monty Python hand because I personally love Monty Python, but it's like that. It's like the gift from the divine coming in and saying, here, remember, this is your cup. This is what you're meant to pay attention to, because once we get back to understanding what does emotionally connect us, we bring the power back to ourselves. What does that mean? Instead of looking at what we have that doesn't emotionally fulfill us in our current environment and looking kind of external to ourselves, saying, well, none of this works for me. Like, what can I do to find something that will? There's a reminder that actually it's more about, as you're reevaluating what no longer works, you are at the same time looking to understand, well, what does now work? If X, Y, and Z doesn't make me happy anymore, doesn't excite me, or doesn't make me feel engaged, well, what would? And by going out and understanding that and clarifying for yourself, you step up into this beautiful energy of the Queen of Cups. So what I'm seeing with Strength, Queen of Cups, and Death is that in your external environment, Spirit's really asking you to be strong and really taking the knowledge that you're gaining now as you're kind of doing a little bit of an emotional review of your life and going out to face a big change. Now, when we see the Death card, for those of you who are familiar with the tarot, you'll understand that the Death card does not mean often literal death. This means that there is a releasing of something that has been, so that it can be transformed and rebirthed into something new. And for those of you who are unfamiliar, again, don't let this make you get scared or have it be a trigger, because what this is showing me here is that if you have the ability to really sit and reevaluate what no longer serves you and to understand the why behind it. So let's say you're looking at your life and you're saying, you know, I'm just dissatisfied with the place I'm living in. I'm dissatisfied with the work I'm doing. And I'm dissatisfied that I don't really have a hobby anymore that I do in my spare time. Well, it's about looking then, if you're not connecting to any aspect of your current experience, it's about understanding, well, what would make you connect? So what is the common denominator behind your dissatisfaction with all of these areas? So for instance, if you're looking at, let's say, where you're currently living, your actual place of residence, and it's about getting down to why are you dissatisfied? Are you dissatisfied because you are living in a one-bedroom apartment in the city and you have been dreaming now for the past year about moving to the country and having space and not have to deal with living in a crowded space? Or is it something else? Is it the opposite? Is it you're living in this one-bedroom apartment in the middle of the city, but you always wanted to see yourself in that 4-bedroom home in suburbia because you associated that with the family that you would have had by this point? And so as you start to clarify why each area of your life is not satisfying you emotionally, then this is how you start to clarify. So for instance, if let's say it is the fact that you're not happy with your 1-bedroom apartment in the city because now you feel like you need more space and you want to be living in the country, and maybe at one point living in the middle of a city was exciting and wonderful and you felt proud of that, but now you're realizing, I want peace, I want quiet. My perspective has changed in regards to how many people I want to live around and maybe what I like to do in my spare time. So then you start to realize, okay, what fills my cup now is peace, is space, is maybe reconnecting with nature. And then you look at your job and you hold up the same magnifying glass basically to your job to say, well, what is dissatisfactory about my job? Maybe at one point you loved the role that you were in, or you were excited about learning more. And maybe now at this point, it isn't that you don't like the work that you do, there's just no room for growth. And what are you really looking for at this point? Are you bored because you're not engaged? And so by understanding this, you can start to say, okay, well, what would engage me now? Is me making a lateral move where I can work my way up in the same industry because I'm still interested in what I do? Or is it something where you've learned everything you can in a specific field and there really is, no matter whether you move to this position or this job or this company, you're still going to be fulfilling the same duties. And so now it's a realization as to, wow, I've really grown past where I started maybe 5 years ago in this industry, and now it's time for me to either see another avenue within the same field where I can maybe make a move out of maybe what I've been doing specifically, where my duties will change, or it's me realizing that it's actually the field I'm in specifically that no longer holds any emotional connection to me. And so now when I go to look for a new position, I know what to look for. I'm going to search within myself now. So, and it all kind of lines up. So if you notice that, again, now you want to move to a location that is peaceful and quiet with open space and the ability to maybe go hiking or something along those lines, then maybe you are looking for a job that also holds those same values and same level of the potential for emotional connection for you. So in doing this, it's a beautiful point for you to really clarify what's in your cup so that you can take it forward and step out into the world to actually meet the transformation that's happening in your external environment. And yes, it does take strength, because as you are moving into this process and transforming through stepping into your power in the understanding now of what emotionally connects you to life and what you need to fulfill you, that is going to probably correlate to you having to walk away from something. And I think for a lot of you, there is a part of yourself deep down that already knows what you need to walk away from. But where this can get to be a tricky a tricky issue to face is that, and I know because I've been in this position, and in fact, actually Sagittarius, I am in this very moment going through one of these moments of reevaluation myself. I am a new mother. I gave birth to a lovely baby girl last year, and that has changed my whole world. And me and my husband had to have one of those very difficult conversations of kind of doing this together, reevaluating where we stand now, reevaluating kind of our whole life experience. And deep in my heart, I knew it was time to walk away from a position I've held for a while in another company outside of what I do here. And in clarifying and having the strength to understand what now fills my needs in this moment and the needs of my family that I directly emotionally connect to, it clarified for me what I need to walk away from. And at one point, the role that I have with my current company and the way that I get to work from home and all of the benefits and the people I work with, at one point had been a point of emotional fulfillment for me. But now with reevaluation, I realize that's not the case. Things have greatly transformed in my external environment, and I need to meet that bravely to make that tough decision. So there you go, Sagittarius, you know a little bit about me as a person. But I really see what you're feeling here. Now I'm going to pull some cards, and we're going to kind of dive deeper into, well, my goodness, if that can't be a double confirmation, 4 of Cups again in your challenge position. I love the depiction of the 4 of Cups in this deck because it really shows that we can be sitting here so dissatisfied, so bored, and yet there's a cup behind us that is filled with the true rainbow, the magic of who we are, our unique individuality. So when you think about our cup, we are originally given an Ace of Cups when we are created, when we come into this world as a unique soul. And that cup is filled with unconditional love between us and spirit, us and divine. It is the cup that is unique to us in that there are certain things in our lives that will emotionally fulfill us based on our own needs, wants, and desires. And that cup is completely different for each individual person currently in existence in this world, and possibly in other places that we have yet to discover. But this is always a moment for, we will go through life and we will forget. We will forget about our needs. We will also, the beautiful thing about the human experience is that we grow and we expand as a soul. And it's not that all of a sudden our needs change and what we needed at one point. It's not, let me put it this way, it's not that what is in our cup changes. It is that we grow and dive deeper and look fuller into our cup to understand how we can keep it full. Instead of at certain points in our life when we go out to start to interact with others, we can go through periods where we feel that we need to pull from another's cup or that we need to give from our cup to others. And it's a growth period to realize, first of all, what is in your cup uniquely your own versus another's, and then to be able to understand strength and boundaries in really keeping your cup sacred while understanding that yes, it can be shared with others and others can share with you, but you must stay firm in continuing to honor what is in there and continuing to dive into it from time to time to discover the full depth of what really emotionally connects you and engages you, your soul, with your external experience. I hope that makes sense and doesn't sound preachy. So anyways, let's get back into actually taking a look at your blocks here. So we have the 4 of Cups as your main point of challenge, which is double confirmation right now that you're having a hard time really facing. I think, sometimes where this can be really difficult is when we when every aspect of our life becomes dissatisfactory and we just don't even know where to start. We're like, what do we change first? It doesn't, I don't see the way forward. And with the King of Swords coming up directly after this is really asking you to utilize the element of truth, the element of clarity, to really be able to see. I actually get a strong feeling now, I'm just getting this kind of intuitive hit of the King of Swords is someone who sees all sides, has very clear ability to make decisions, to make a fair and accurate assumption. But it's also somebody who has mastered working with their truth, has mastered expressing their truth, and takes action from that place. And I think really what Spirit's asking you to step into is to utilize the strength of your own truth to evaluate what is no longer satisfactory. And you almost have to kind of go into your head to evaluate, to be able to kind of go back into your heart to see, okay, what does emotionally fulfill me? And this can kind of be difficult because these are two energies that don't always line up. We don't always have our head and our heart in alignment. And sometimes we get too far in one way and too far in another. And I really feel here that Sagittarius, a lot of you are a little too much in the emotion and need to kind of pull yourself up and into the clarity of the headspace to utilize your ability to kind of see above this. It's hard for us to evaluate our circumstances when sometimes we're so in it, when we are in that emotional state of, I can't even. And this is asking you to really kind of rise up out of that into the mental space and to take a look at yourself from almost an outsider or a higher spiritual perspective to say, okay, let's just kind of get a lay of the land. Let's get a lay of the land and really understand and hold up what doesn't really serve my personal truth. That when I bring my sword of clarity and I hold it up to this aspect of my life and this aspect of my life and this aspect of my life, that this will really help cut through areas perhaps that you are not willing to see something in a specific way. Because coming up into the heart of your reading here, this is what Spirit really wants you to embrace and understand to be able to overcome this challenge is the Hanged Man. And the Hanged Man is the energy of a divine pause that allows you to see everything in your current situation, but from a different perspective. So if you think about having the opportunity to be in your room where you're sitting right now or wherever you are, and all of a sudden you have the ability to hang yourself upside down and take a look at the exact same environment, but now you're upside down. Well, you're probably going to see things not only in a different way, but you might actually see things that stand out that you had not noticed previously. So for instance, this can look like you are sitting at your desk in front of your computer, but if you all of a sudden were hanging upside down, you would be able to see under your desk. You would be able to see the outlet that everything is plugged into. You'd be able to see maybe the mess that you've kind of shoved under there. And that's the beauty of what is happening right now in your life, that Spirit's asking you to take this time of reevaluation, that maybe there has been a little bit of a pause, a stagnant energy, to allow you to have that ability to see what you have now, but with fresh eyes. To take a look and understand that there's probably things that need to be cleared away first before you can really understand what is dissatisfactory and not. That there may be areas where you have been kind of hiding truth from yourself, that maybe you have been shoving, kind of like in that episode of Friends where Monica's been keeping a really clean and tidy apartment, but yet she has one closet that is just stuffed full with all the junk she's hidden and doesn't want to deal with. And there's a little bit of that coming through here, because right after that is Temperance. And Temperance is an energy that really shows us the ability to kind of take what we have, but bring it together to temper it into something new. That we don't always have to, let's say, just throw something out. Sometimes, or we don't have to, let's say we think we have to make a move. And it's like, okay, well, I hate my 1-bedroom apartment in the city, so I have to make this move to the larger home in the country. And what Spirit's saying is that, baby steps. Let's bring this down into a tempered energy to where take a look at what you have around you immediately and what can change there. So yes, maybe where you currently live is loud and noisy and it doesn't allow you to be able to expand outward in the way that you would like. But if you're thinking about moving, let's take the first baby steps. What in your current living environment, maybe can you start to release? Maybe you have a bunch of old boxes from a previous move, or you have a bunch of old clothes that you need to give to the Goodwill. That is one of these things where you really take a look at what you have first, and you start to get ready, prepare yourself to make that move. You pare down on what you have so that when you are ready to start looking for a new place, you will start to, you'll be able to make the move a lot more efficiently. Or let's say you are unhappy with your current work environment. Well, this is about taking a look at what you currently do and the skill sets that you have, and to bring that into a place of, okay, I can see very clearly what I'm strong at, what I like to do, but now I'm also going to temper that with what would really emotionally connect me to my next job, and to start to really blend those two things together. Temperance really speaks to tempering action with emotion. That we can't really take action without feeling into it, and we really can't act on our feelings without understanding our passion. It's hard for me to say that. Let me try to dial that back. So we can't really just kind of keep taking blind action without connecting that to some type of emotional connection. That as we take an action, we need to know the why, which is the why comes from our emotions, comes from what's in our cup. But you also can't just keep moving and taking action blindly from a place of emotion either, without truly linking that back as to, okay, why am I choosing to take this specific action? So it's bringing those two things together, of really understanding what are the next steps, what is the clarity I need to, when I'm looking at everything now with a fresh perspective, what really do I need to do to start to get me to the place I really want to move into, or to move towards something that I know will feel more emotionally fulfilling. Because then at the end of here, this is your final challenge. You have the 5 of Wands, and the 5 of Wands is the card of kind of getting back out there, so to speak. It can be a card of a little bit of that feeling of chaos, but I look at it more as a card of change when we make the decision to go back out and kind of get in the fray, to test out a skill set that maybe, or a passion that we've maybe discovered. And we are now trying to see, okay, well, where does this fit? This is when we kind of brush ourselves off and say, I really want to start writing again. I've realized my dissatisfaction has come from my lack of having a hobby, and my dissatisfaction with my current job is that I'm not artistically fulfilled, and my issue with my work or with my home environment is that I have no space to actually pursue a creative endeavor. And you realize, boom, all at once, creativity is what I'm craving, is what is in my cup, and I'm not being fulfilled by. And this is when you realize, you look under your desk and you're like, oh my gosh, I've had that paint set and that journal sitting under there since somebody gave it to me 2 years ago for my birthday. And this is when you pull it out and you start to use it. And And it can be a little scary when we start to kind of make that decision, that step forward, because as we start to do that, as we start to engage more and more with that energy and realize and hold everything up to that truth of, I need to bring more creativity, more artistic creativity into my life, well, that's going to show you what you need to walk away from. And I think somewhere in your heart of hearts, Sagittarius, you already know what that is. You already know what is not fulfilling you in your current energy. But it can be a little scary to face this energy as well. This little bit of like, well, I haven't written anything in 15 years. If I jump back out there now, what is that going to look like? I'm going to look foolish. I might look immature or not, polished. And this is where Spirit's saying it's going to take some strength. But this is meant to be because you're in a point of spiritual growth. And if we don't know what's in our cup and we're not fully connecting with it, then we're not allowing ourselves to continue down the path to realizing our highest potential. And the greater collective experience will suffer just as much as you at not having the benefit of what you have to offer. So if you are meant to be that great writer, or you are meant to journal so that you unlock something else about yourself, there is something within you right now that Spirit's trying to say there is more. There is more, but you have to have the strength and the faith to go out and kind of face this rebirth of yourself. And yeah, it's just going to involve having to kind of get out there with others. Which sometimes can be fun, actually. We forget, sometimes we get scared about how we're going to be perceived, and then this would be like joining a writer's group, or joining some type of group where people kind of hold themselves accountable to learning something new or taking part in some specific area. And we realize, oh my gosh, just by surrounding ourselves with people who are in the same position and who have a similar perspective and love for whatever this group is about, it's just enough to be that kind of motivating, like, woohoo. And that it's not all about competition, that most of those people feel the same way as you do. They're also equally worried about how they're going to be seen. They're also equally, worried about judgment of others. It's very hard as a human being to not have that, that worry present. But additionally, most people also just want to go and have fun and share with others something that they are passionate about and the thing that fills their cup. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and pull a card for the concept of curiosity, courage, and contemplation. And this is where we're going to engage the Triad of Engagement, which is a coaching tool I use in my practice to help people engage authentically with their external environment. And we're going to take what is a very general message here and help turn it into an individualized message for you, so that we give you points to keep in mind throughout the month, that in keeping them in your awareness and asking these questions and hopefully seeking the answers to them, that specific things to your experience will be illuminated. So we're going to see here what Spirit would like you to stay curious about. This is bringing in harnessing the energy of curiosity, which is allowing us to step into the superpower of kind of wiping the slate clean as to what we know and believe we know, and allowing ourselves to open up to awe and wonder and the possibilities of miracles in our lives. So we have hostilities, number 26. So this card is interesting. This card I always feel is kind of like the gatekeeper card. This is when we feel like we have to protect something about ourselves, that people kind of, like, I could see this card coming up, this energy coming up if you're sitting here bored and somebody comes up and questions you about your life, and they're like, hey, so yeah, you're not happy living in your one-bedroom apartment in the city. Have you looked up listings, in the country somewhere? And you immediately are like, shut that down. You're like, I'm not even looking because I know it's too expensive and my job is here in the city and there's no way that I can change anything. And all of a sudden it's like, and. And instead of you allowing yourself to step up into that and say, yeah, you're right. I don't know why I haven't been doing that. It seems a little daunting to me, but I'm gonna take you up on that, and I'm gonna start looking. That person actually who brought that up might end up turning around and saying, oh, well, that's great. I have a best friend who's a realtor, and she can give you all the information that you need and kind of help see where you're at now, and to help you maybe give you a perspective on, what the reality of moving to this area might look like. And suddenly now you kind of opened up the door. And this is, I think, what Spirit's asking you to be curious about is, what if you just kind of put down the sword, put down the sword, and allowed yourself to admit to yourself what needs to change, what needs to change in your life to allow for this emotional connection to come in. And as you move through the month, you're trying to maybe speak about this and discuss it, and maybe get out into working with others, or bringing this part of yourself out into engagement with others, that as people come and question you about these changes you're thinking about making, or the areas of your life that you're dissatisfied, if you simply opened yourself up to the what ifs, like what if I did go and start to apply for new jobs? Like, what might happen? I think you're going to be amazed at what comes in for you in the month of February. There might be that helpful tip from somebody. There might be that, you go to Google something online and suddenly you see an option that you had no idea existed. It's one of those things where you might get even an invite to join some type of group, and in that group you end up connecting with somebody who ends up being a lifelong friend. There's all kinds of things we don't really understand about why at certain times we feel called to make changes, that we feel called to reevaluate, and we feel called to walk towards something new. But Spirit's asking you, can you put down the defensive quality, and can you be optimistic and with wonder move through this month wondering what is meant to come in for you? All right, Sagittarius. Now I'm going to pull a card for the concept of courage, and we are going to take a look at where Spirit would like you to have the courage to take action, and what to keep in mind as well as you are gaining the courage to take action. Because it does take a lot of courage to change points in your life, or to change aspects of your life when you realize you're no longer satisfied. But this is also where you bring the power back to yourself, where you have to realize if you're dissatisfied with your life, you're the one who gets the beautiful opportunity to change it. So we have surrender to creativity, which is wonderful. It says, let your imagination soar. Stay open to all creative ideas about how to pursue a dream or solve a problem. I just got goosebumps reading this. So lovely message. And it says, surrender comparisons with other people. Keep your eyes trained on yourself. Focus on your own strengths, attractiveness, and power. What a wonderful and perfect message for this right now. There is this feeling here coming through very clearly as you are looking to take action and have the courage to take action on your own behalf. I feel like the surrender to creativity kind of comes in with what I was just saying, that there's this quality here of understanding there's all kinds of other ways, right? To see things in a new perspective, to bring two things together that you might not have otherwise understood connect, and to allow Spirit to help open that up for you, that you might not see it right now. And instead of kind of banging your head against the wall and being like, oh my gosh, like, what am I missing? Where can I bring these things together? I don't see it, I don't see it, I don't see it, is to just kind of surrender a little bit. Surrender to the ability to have faith in your own creative mind. This is like when we go to sleep at night, right before, as our mind's kind of winding down, we have that aha moment, or in a dream we have that inspiration. We wake up and it's like, oh duh, that's what I need to do. So there is that feeling here, Sagittarius, of just kind of allowing yourself to let go this month, to continue to take action towards, like, small baby steps of action towards starting to move away from what you're dissatisfied with towards something that would be more satisfactory to you, but to allow how that comes in and what you can utilize at your disposal to kind of just come to you as you start to take these actions. This is not about strategizing and overanalyzing. It's about surrendering to that beautiful ability that each one of our minds has to kind of pull random pieces of information together and kind of pop out a lottery ticket with a new way. And surrender comparisons with other people is, I love this card to death in this reading. This is kind of what I was trying to bring forward when I was saying, like, if you want to have the courage to join a group, that a lot of times we join a group so fearful that we are going to be judged by others, that we are not up to snuff, so to speak, or that we are not as good or here at this level, or they're going to make fun of me because I enjoy this aspect of this instead of that. And this is saying, no. It's our individuality that makes joining a group so fun and such a neat experience. Because otherwise, if we weren't each individuals joining a group together to have a shared experience, it would be boring, right? We'd all be the same person, all saying the same thing. We'd all agree, and that would be the end of it. Instead, we enter the Five of Wands scenarios to learn more about ourselves, to practice, to see what we're good at, what we like to do. And we're bringing our passion to the table to engage that with other people's passions. And that's what really allows opportunities to unfold. All right. And last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and pull a card for the concept of contemplation. This is what Spirit would like you to keep in mind as you are reflecting on the actions that you've taken, the consequences of those actions, and just in general, what happens in the month of February for you. So this is kind of like the overarching theme for the month of February. What does Sagittarius need to know about a point of contemplation and reflection for the month of February. I can't believe it's already February at this point. I don't know about you guys, but man, I felt like February was like 6 weeks long. And now I feel like February is going to be gone in the blink of an eye. It's kind of crazy. All right, let's see. Oh, quite a few cards, but I'll take them all. So we have Star Mother. How can you mother yourself? You're already doing it. Stop overthinking. Keep facing your true north. And Akasha, your guidance is divinely guided. I think this is a beautiful way to end this reading here, Sagittarius. There's an element strongly of faith coming through, of understanding that this point, and it really comes through here with the Hanged Man at the heart of your reading, because the Hanged Man is a divine pause. It's where you've been asked to have this moment to reflect for a reason, because you are being divinely guided. Things are being reset in your external environment to allow you to move forward and engage with something new. And that will involve having to walk away from something. But there's this faith component coming in of have faith. Don't try to, not allow yourself to understand what needs to change. Instead, when you think about how can you mother yourself, this is taking a look at who you are now, stepping up into that place of really looking at yourself from the outside perspective of a mother or a father or some type of parental figure who would look fondly at their child. And imagine if you yourself had a child, would you want that child to not feel satisfied with the life that they're living? And really bring that back to yourself, because that's how Spirit or the divine feels about you. It's about you feeling satisfied and emotionally connected with your life, and to understand that you are being guided now kind of back to connecting with your path. And I hope that gives you the courage to make this decision. I know it can be tough because, again, I'm going through it myself, but it's always exciting to see. And it's not the first time in my life I've had to go through this point. This is something that we'll go through multiple times throughout our lives. But I can tell you from my personal experience, each time I've gone through this kind of reevaluation and kind of seeing where now I need to walk away from something that really does not hold up to my expanded cup. It's allowed a wealth of opportunities to come in. And I really wish all of that for all of you this month. All right. If you would like to illuminate your own personal spiritual importance and to see how it can be of service to yourself and others, you can click on the link in my description box below to book a personal reading or a one-on-one coaching session. And I will be releasing mid-month love readings, since it is Valentine's Day over here, in just a week or so. And then I will be posting the dates for March's Illumination readings. I hope to see you for the mid-month readings, but if I don't see you until March, have a wonderful February, Sagittarius.